Thank you for choosing to download and print your free ColloCards. Printing and cutting ColloCards is a very easy process that we're going to walk you through. Okay, we can either print your ColloCards on regular paper or use cardstock. We recommend 110-pound cardstock. And if you do it on paper, the cards will look like this. Works, but not as durable and doesn't really feel like a real deck of cards the way it does when you use the cardstock. So you can shuffle them like real cards. You can find the cardstock or the paper at a school supply store or office supply store, or you can click the link below to order to have it shipped directly to your home. In the videos, you'll see how we can cut the ColloCards with either scissors or with what I call a paper cutter. Office supply store is often called a trimmer, so if you go to our link, search for it under paper trimmer. Alright, so let's get started. First, click the link below to print your ColloCards guide, which contains instructions, and then watch our video. If anything's unclear along the way, just hit the contact button and let us know so we can help you. First thing I'm going to do is open the ColloCards guide, which has the printing instructions and cutting instructions, and also a lot of other important information that you'll need, but we won't need that yet. Print the document. And while that's printing, let's reduce that. I'm going to go down to the other files we need to print. We've got the different ColloCards and keys. Let's print the whole document. But before that, let's save it. So I'm going to save it. I'm going to create a new folder in my documents called ColloCards. Open that folder and save the guide there. Good. Then I'm going to print the document, and while that's printing, reduce that. I'm going to go down. I've opened the collar key, the front, and I'm going to save that. My ColloCards folder opens, and file name is correct, the collar key front, so I'm going to save that there to save everything first, especially since we're waiting for that to print anyway. This is the back of the collar key that I've opened, and I'm going to save that in the same folder. Let's reduce that so we have it when we need it. Now the fronts of the 80M cards, let's save those. And finally, the backs of the cards. Okay. Those are saved. So now we've got everything saved to the same folder. The ColloCards guide is almost finished printing. And one thing you can do, why don't we go to My Documents, since we have another few seconds here. Let's find our new folder, ColloCards. Let's make a folder in this folder for the A to M deck. So let's see. New folder. Let's do A to M ColloCards. And just put the A to M documents in there. So there should be 4 of them. The front and back of the key and the front and back of the cards. Good. So we can print from there. So I've printed that. We don't need the pages there because we already have our printing and cutting instructions. Okay, I'm over at a Macintosh computer now. This time I have a ColloCards folder I've created on my desktop. That's it right there. And in the folder I have the back of the key and the front of the key. I have the ColloCards front and back, one folder. The first thing my printing instructions say to do is to load 1 page of cardstock into my printer. So I've got my 1 page of cardstock I'll put in. And then to click the color key front. There it is, and print. So once that prints, we'll move to the fourth step, which is to put it back into the printer so we can print the back of the key. Okay, there it is. You can also do it on regular paper. You'll see in the cutting video that you can make the key and/or the decks using regular paper if you like. So I'm going to put this back in this way because on this inkjet printer and on most, that's the way to print the other side. If you're not sure about that and you want to do a test with regular paper, might be a good idea. I know that mine will print on the other side if I put it back in facing up. So back in, I'll close this and open ColloKey back. And print. And once the key comes out, we can put that to the side and move on to step 2, printing the ColloCards. There's the key, which you'll see cut in the next video. Step 2, printing the ColloCards. Load 8 pages of cardstock into your printer. Okay, I've got my 8 pages in. Close the back of the ColloKey, and it says to click on the ColloCards front link. They're the front of our cards, and print. But if you have a color printer and are worried about how much color ink you'll need, it's very, very little ink. I think the last page is printing here. I see AB coming out, so it's printing the last page first on this printer. I think a lot of printers are designed that way. So there are the fronts of the cards. Stick them back in the printer facing up, as I did with the ColloKey. Close that document and open A to M ColloCards back, and print. To me, the most important reasons to encourage people to print them at home are, number one, that it saves money. It saves you money, it saves us money. There's no shipping, saves time too. No shipping concerns. The price of your deck, if you do it yourself, will be under $1. There is no way that we could print these decks and sell them to you for under $1 with all the costs involved. Second important reason is the ecological impact of us doing them, shipping them, and so forth. Doing them at home, really to use the, it's already a cliche, isn't it, to reduce the carbon footprint. But this is really important to Mark and myself. Since this is so easy to do, why not do it in your home? Another reason is that I have, at this point, well over 200 different card decks. Of course, you may not want all of them or have use for all of them. But if you like the ColloCards approach and these materials, and you have a young child who will obviously grow older and take on more difficult subjects, other subjects, I have, for example, SAT preparation cards. What I'm getting at is that if we sold them directly to you and charged the price that people charge for a deck of cards, it would be prohibitively expensive to buy that many decks of cards. So if you get in the habit of doing it at home, you can get so many materials for so little money. There are the backs of the cards, sorry, the fronts and the backs finished. We have our 8 pages. We have our ColloKey that we printed, and this is all we need to get started cutting and making the packaging for our cards.